In Drew's office, after sex, Nina accuses Drew of planning this, but he reminds her that she started it. She thinks he's been fantasizing about this happening. Drew informs her that the only thing he fantasizes about her is her losing all her money, her looks, and getting sent to prison. Nina assumes he regrets this as much as she does. He suggests she think of it as two people who hate one another spontaneously combusting. She thinks he now owes her, so put her on the Aurora board of directors. Drew says it will take more than rug burns and 45 minutes on his office floor for him to lift a finger to help her. Nina cries about how she got punched in the gut earlier by Michael and Willow, and she came here for some sympathy and thinks he took advantage of her. He says taking advantage of people is her thing, and he thinks she offered them a fancy anniversary dinner so they'd tell Sonny how generous she was. He wonders if Sonny knows she's still pining for him. Nana goes to slap him, and he stops her and says, "I'll take that as a no." She tells him not to tell Sonny about this. He says he won't be bragging about hate sex with her. Plus, Sonny's preoccupied with Jason's return and his new roommate Ava. Nina isn't worried about Ava, and she steers the topic back to his helping her get her family back. Drew says Michael will never forgive or trust her, but Willow has a softer heart, and they are friends. However, it's going to take a hell of a lot for him to talk to Willow on her behalf. She's going to have to make it worth it to him. She asks what it will cost her. He says she's a creative person, so she'll come up with something. He throws his shirt at her and suggests she start by sewing the buttons back on his shirt. She throws it back at him and tells him to do his own mending. In John's room at the Metro Court, Carly puts an ice pack on his head and complains about how the ice machine on this floor is broken, which would never have happened when she was running this place. She asks John to let her take him to the hospital, but he says he's happy with the care she's giving him. He eventually tells her that she can go home, but she says he could have a concussion and needs supervision. She tells him if he won't go to the hospital, then she'll stay here to keep checking on him every few hours. She gets them some blankets as he settles into the couch, and she gets comfy in a chair. She suspects he doesn't want to go to the hospital as the police will have questions. He says he got mugged, end of story. She knows he was tracking Jason. John says it wasn't Jason, but she's getting warmer, so guess again. She says if it wasn't Jason, she guesses he was tracking his lawyer. He admits he was. She says getting mugged usually isn't a mood lifter, but it's made him fun. He insists he is fun, she just doesn't know him well enough to see it. She gets him more ice for him and asks under what other circumstances is he fun. He thinks he's said too much as is and falls asleep. She hits the lights and snuggles back in her chair. At their place, Laura tells Kevin she thinks she's finally got Ace to sleep. She looks over at Kevin, who is glued to his tablet. She vents her worries that Ace's family is getting smaller, and he won't have siblings his age. He only has them, but Kevin points out he also has Heather. Laura says she's back in Pentonville for now, and her transfer to a federal prison was canceled due to her health. Kevin's done research on chemically induced behavior, and she wonders if they could really reopen Heather's case after all she's done. Kevin says after doing a deep dive, there is a medical precedent. Laura says most of the citizens of Port Charles would be outraged at Heather going free, unless she was a victim too. She wonders if Heather deserves a second chance. Kevin would like to see her redeemed, maybe just not released, but for her to also have a good relationship with Ace. Selfishly, he blames himself for what happened with his brother, and if he hadn't done what he had, Spencer might still be here and they'd never have met Esma. She reminds him they wouldn't have Ace either. Laura checks in on Ace through the baby camera connected to her phone. He remembers when the baby monitor was the pinnacle of advancement. Laura knows raising a baby at this point in their lives wasn't on their bucket list. Kevin says they aren't exactly ready to retire, and they don't back away from life. Laura thinks Ace is giving them more life, and he agrees. Kevin calls Ace an unexpected miracle. At Christina's place, she and Blaze finish a movie. Blaze brings up her being the face of deception and her mother making sure her private life is kept private. Christina says Blaze may not be out, but her girlfriend is out to their friends and family, and that's all she cares about. She doesn't see a problem with the deals her mom made, unless Blaze does. Blaze admits having a control freak for a mom hasn't always been great.